When I think of the vacation that I've just come back from, I can't help it but feel very grateful that I am finally at this position in my financial freedom journey where I am able to take a break, to rest, to take a vacation. And one of the things that made me feel very excited during that vacation, or made me very, very happy, and also reminded me where I started from, is this tweet. I'll put it up here, where Will Triber tweeted me and said that he's very happy for me because first of all, Azerbaijan looked magical, and at the same time he's very happy for me because like my journey is a testament of what financial planning, of course over a long period of time, can do. And this made me very happy because probably this is one of those Wealth Tribers who have followed me for like 4 or 5 years, and though and he probably knows that when I started this, when I started the Wealth Tribe, or when I started my financial freedom journey, I started with debt, right? I can say that I started from the bottom because by the time I was finishing uni in 2016, I had a HELB loan. And then when I started my first job again at the end of 2016, I had a lot of mobile money loans, right? I had like 10 mobile money loans. I used to play that game of borrowing Peter to pay Paul. And this, one of the reasons why it's because one, poverty. I couldn't just make ends meet, and the other thing is I didn't have the financial literacy to also understand how dangerous these mobile money loans are. And so yes, I started from having so much debt from mobile money loans, owing friends, and also the HELB loan, that to see myself now getting myself from that situation, and also having a few people who followed me all along this journey being able to recognize that, wow, this is where she was 4 or 5 years ago and this is where she is now. That tweet made me happy. And at the same time, I wanted to come back here, apart from expressing how grateful I am, I also wanted to come back here and talk about something that I see a lot on the internet, especially when you are when you like consuming travel content, because I like consuming travel content. There's this stuff I have been seeing on both TikTok and Instagram, where people are told, especially young people, they're given this advice where you're told, don't worry about money, just travel the world, right? And this advice also goes something like, drop everything and run away to some Asian country to go find yourself. Or sometimes you're told, just quit your job and go move to another country, to start a new life. Or sometimes you're told that just travel when you're young and untethered, experience the world. But the underlying advice here is, don't worry about money, just travel. And hey, that advice really, really bothers me for a lot of reasons, because first of all, there are a few problems with that advice. First of all, a lot of the people who give this advice usually have this assumption that because they travel the world, and because they've traveled the world, they've been to many countries, they feel that they are better off, or they are more worthy as human beings than the other people who are not able to do the same, who are not able to travel, to just drop everything and travel the world. And they wonder, right? You can feel them wondering, like, why is it that you're not able to quit that job that you hate and just travel the world, right? And a lot of us, or a lot of the people who consume that content, most of the time we see this content and also feel as if you're failures. You ask yourself, why am I not in this position? Why am I not able to just quit my job and just travel the world? So you feel like you're a failure. You feel that you're not worthy as a person, and most of the time all you can do is just sit there and just sit there and hope that one day you're going to get such a job that allows you to at least travel. Not even you just sit there and hope that one day you're actually going to get a job that allows you to travel the world. And the other underlying thing that I don't like about this kind of advice is me, as someone who started off from poverty, right? One of the things that used to make me very, very worried and very, very anxious a few years ago about the concept of travel, or even not even quitting everything, because I cannot afford to quit everything and just go find myself. Even that that thing of just getting a flight ticket and booking a hotel, or even an Airbnb, and traveling for 2 weeks. One of the things that used to worry me a lot is me thinking, I used to have anxiety around, what if I come back to poverty? what if I come back to poverty? What if I come back poor? What if I book that plane ticket? What if I pay that hotel? What if I go and enjoy my life for 1 week and then come back to nothing? Because it's very possible. Because the one thing that these people who say don't worry about money, just quit and travel the world, the one thing that they are refusing to tell us is most of the time they are able to enjoy this freedom because they come from a bit of wealth. Right? They come from a bit of wealth. They come from a family that is able to support them. If they quit everything and went out there to try and find happiness, or if they quit everything and moved to another country and then they came back, they come from a bit of wealth, which means that they'll be able to come back to their mother's house. They'll be able to come back to their parents' house. Even if when they come back to their parents' house, even if they don't have an extra bedroom, they can still be able to scout on the couch or sleep on the couch for a few weeks or a few months or even years as they figure out their life. For some of us, we don't have that privilege, right? We don't have a family, or we do not have parents that we can go back to if we just quit everything and travel the world to go and find ourselves. The other thing that allows them to be able to just say, to not worry about money and just quit and travel the world, is because for a lot of these people, they lived in their parents' house. You know, the way in a Kenyan context where if you don't come from privilege, as soon as, for example, first of all, it's a privilege to say that you are able to go through the full education system, primary school, secondary school, and then uni. But then let's assume now you've gotten that privilege or even going through uni. But and what happens that as soon as you finish uni, you're told, go and fend for yourself, right? Go and fend for yourself. Most people who come from wealth, they are able to stay back in their families, right? They're able to stay back in their parents' house and they're able to save money, right? Like, this is actually a practical example. I have a few people we schooled with, and for us, some of us were like, as soon as we finished uni, we just went out there and rented a house and started, fighting with this life. But for them, and by the way, don't get me wrong, it's awesome that you have that privilege. And in fact, I usually say, if I ever have children, I would like to be able to be in a position where I am able to support my kids in that way. So this is not privilege bashing. This is just to say that this kind of advice, just quit everything, or don't worry about money, just quit everything and travel the world, is terrible advice. It's like one of the worst advice that you can ever tell people. And so the other thing I was saying is that I have people that we school together. For us, we immediately after uni had to go out there and find a house and be able to fight with life. For them, they stayed back. I have practical examples of people, they stayed back. They were able to stay for 3 years with their parents, back in their parents' house, and so they were able to have savings. And that is why they have so much savings. Literally, I have someone in mind who I know that they stayed with their parents for like 4 years after we finished uni, and this girl, by the time 4 years were over, she had so much savings. She used to talk about how much she has in her money market fund, how much money she has in bonds, and at that time, as we're just there swimming in debt, right? So these people also have this backup of being able to have savings. And the truth is, the reason why a lot of people are not able to just not worry about money is because you have responsibilities, right? I'm sure you know people whose parents are unwell, right? Whose parents are sick, and therefore they are the only hope, and these people are the only people who are able to support them. So one, you have responsibilities. Number two, there are some people who come from such poverty that they're just not able to not worry about money. Literally, worrying about money is the default, and therefore you cannot be out here telling people we cannot be out here telling people to choose between traveling the world and not worrying about money. They do not have that choice. They do not. There are people out here who do not have that choice. And it's very true that there are people who, if they actually took that advice and quit everything and travel the world, which I don't even know how they would be able to buy the flight ticket, they would come back after 2 weeks and be on the streets, right? They would come back and have to start from the very beginning. So yes, this thing that we are telling people not to worry too much, not worry too much about this thing we call money, or not make money a priority, it's terrible advice, because there are people who can take this advice and go back to being much worse off than they even started, right? And going back to the other point where a lot of people give this advice, and they also tell you, oh, if you travel the world, you're going to be a much more cultured, a much more experienced person, a much wiser person, because you've experienced all these things and you've been to all these countries. Imagine even if at the moment, and I know, and it's okay to dream to travel the world, right? Even in the current life that you're living, you're still learning, you're still growing in the context of the life that you have at the moment. So let's not think that people who travel the world or people who are able to travel the world are the only people who are able to grow or who are able to learn or who are able to become better people. Even in the current situation you're in, you're able to do that. So yes, I just wanted to have that conversation because it's very, very wrong for us to be out here telling people, don't worry about money, just quit and travel the world. It's very okay for you to aspire to travel the world, and it's very okay to stick to, and it's very okay for you to be on your journey, because I've actually just remembered there are other people who are not able to just quit and travel the world because they're working very hard and all their paychecks are going towards getting themselves a college education, where in their 20s or even in their 30s there is also someone who's not able to take this advice that, you know, just quit and travel the world, because they're currently in a very tough journey where they're trying to get themselves just basic financial independence. You know, maybe you're just there trying to achieve just basic financial independence, and basic financial independence can look like being able to have a 3 months emergency fund, a 6 months emergency fund, or 1 year emergency fund, without even thinking about all the other investment portfolios that you could have. So yes, so this don't worry about money, just quit and travel the world when you're still young and untethered is a very, very privileged statement, and let's not think about it as it is something that everyone can do. It comes, most of the time, it comes from the fact that you come from a good family, which is okay. So please, let's not expect that everyone can stand up and choose this very rare path that you have chosen for yourself. Okay? Okay.